Okay, so let's continue with the camel. I think we're going to be doing part 6 next. If I go all the way to the bottom, we completed part 5. Part 6, let me go and check where we are kind of in the guide. If I go and check the link at the very top, I do believe that the last thing that we did here, we gave the bad news in case the player died of thirst, or that the camel is really getting tired, etc. There is a note though that the book gives us, and that is that make sure that it doesn't tell you both things when you're playing. It tells us right here on step 18, when you print you died of thirst, if the user's thirst is above 6 and then set done to true, that means that the game's over. Make sure that you create your code so that the program doesn't print both you are thirsty and you died of thirst. And I think I mentioned a little bit about that in the last video. I don't think that I did anything about it, because let me get started by first going to my repls and getting the latest code that I have, Camel P5. I'll click on that to open it. Once it opens, I'm going to click somewhere in the code of the page, press Ctrl A as in Apple to select all, and then I'm going to right click and copy. You could have also pressed Ctrl C. Then I'm going to create a new repl, and this one in Python will be called Camel P6. Press enter to accept, and then I'm going to click in the blank area under main.py and maximize my space here, and I'm going to give it a quick run to check out this code. I see that we have the tags here to say you are thirsty, and then you have died of thirst also. So what happens is, let's just run this at full speed until the inevitable end comes. So C, I got thirst at 3, thirst is at 4. At 5, you are thirsty, and then suddenly you have died of thirst. So what the author says is, you don't want to really say that you are thirsty, followed immediately but you have died of thirst. You need to have a little bit of a better, I guess, introduction to your own death. So let me go back to the code here and see what can we fix. If thirst is greater than 3, so if you're a little bit thirsty, you'll get the message. If your thirst is way too high, then you will have died of thirst and the game will be over. I think that we can start by maybe this code that checks out the greater amount. If thirst is greater than 6, I'm going to cut that, pressing Ctrl X after selecting it, and then going behind, or before rather, the other if statement, and pasting what I just cut. So now it's going to check if the thirst is really high first. If it's at 6, it will make the announcement, you have died of thirst, done equals true, and then the game is over. Now, because it's higher than 6, it makes sense that it would be higher than 3. So if it checks this and it says that the game is over, and says that you have died of thirst, you will still get this message that says you are thirsty. And to show what I mean, let's run that and go through the same process again. Let's run it fast at C, multiple times, and see what message we get. So it tells us that the thirst is at 7, and you have died of thirst, followed by you are thirsty. Before that, it just kept on saying that you are thirsty, as it should have. But once you die, it should have stopped saying that. So we can maybe fix this if we move the logic once again so that it's checking the greater amount first. You have died of thirst, and then done equals true. That means that the game is over. So if it checks the second part, that if it's still greater than 3, what's it going to do? It's going to start to announce that you are thirsty. One thing that we can add is just add some logic here. If thirst is greater than 3 and done, the variable that checks if the game is still going on, if it's still going, done will be false. So if it's still false, if done is equal to false, and that's a capital F followed by the rest of the word false, then it's going to print you are thirsty. At least that's my hope. Let's run this. And once again, put this poor camel through the motions of running. We're at 4, we're thirsty, still thirsty, and now it hits 7. So it tells us that we're 66 miles ahead of the natives. Your thirst is now at 7, and you have died of thirst. So one thing that I'm seeing, and I think that maybe I didn't like this from the beginning, so I'm going to make this big change right now. This your thirst is now at 7. You have the option to check your status if you want to know how thirsty you are. Maybe we're giving too much information by saying that your thirst is now at 7. I'm going to find where that is in the code. Your thirst is now at. It's right here on my line 56, and I'm going to get rid of this line. Rather than deleting it, I'm going to add a hashtag at the beginning, meaning this is just a comment. Ignore it. So let's run one more time, hopefully one last time. So we have our options. Enter your choice. Run fast. Run fast. Run fast. It just tells us that you are how far away we are. You're now at 49 miles for running. You are thirsty now. You're thirsty. You're thirsty, and now you're still 57 miles ahead of the natives. You have died of thirst. So, is this still too much information? You are now 57 miles ahead of the natives. It's nice to know where you are. So I think I'm gonna leave that there. The alert you have died of thirst, I think maybe just needs a little bit of help here with the \n so that it's a little bit easier to read. And so now that that's fixed, at least it's not a major fix. If you don't get this to run, that's in this way anyway. I think that it still runs okay, but at least you'll get a clear message of when your camel is in real trouble, by which I mean your camel, or rather you, have died of thirst because you did not take a drink. So it ran 51 miles, and finally it says you have died of thirst. We have enough spacing here. We did not get another message saying that you are thirsty, and by the way, you are dead. So with this file now changed, in the next video I will continue the code to get this game almost complete.